every time I see the Longhorn, I get so excited. I'm like, that's my team. So welcome everyone back to I Know This. And I'm going to say that this episode is going to be the very last episode in the series. So if you have watched every single episode leading up to this, Texas is my number one team for a lot of reasons, but we'll talk about that. But one of the other things is this is your first episode. What I have done to this point is all the top 25 teams in college football. Every team has an episode, and then it leads up to this episode, this being the last episode. So this is going to release on August 25th. Having said that, if anything happens between now and August 25th, we're not going to talk about it because we will not have known it's going to happen. So we're going to go into everything based off what we know, and it is what it is at this point. And then the other thing is this is our first conversation. And Mike Harge introduced us to be able to do this. And I always like to shout him out because he does so many little things for me behind the scenes. And I just always want to give him credit because he's a phenomenal human being. So I just wanted to say that. So without further ado, I am going to sit back and be a fan, and I'm going to enjoy this conversation. So if you just want to introduce yourself, let us know whatever it is you want us to know about you, including how you became a Texas fan.
Wow, man. So if you just throw me into the fire, all of a sudden I'm doing work. But no, I will introduce myself. I'm Eric Henry of 24/7 Sports at CBS Sports. Cover Texas football, basketball, and baseball for 24/7 Sports. I have since 2022. The years all starting to run together at this point. So
okay.
I'm entering my fourth season covering the Longhorns, and I am not a Longhorn fan, but I am someone who obviously covers the team. Yeah. So
I'm the fan. You're the expert. I'm the fan. Yeah.
play the role of fan. And I do appreciate you giving that disclaimer saying that, this will come out in August, right? Because the amount of times that I tape these things or I get, do these hits in the offseason and a player will transfer or injury happened. They're like, how can you even talk about this? I'm like, because we taped this a month ago. Like
literally,
that's what happened. But no, it's a pleasure to be on. Always have to jump on, talk a little Texas, in this case, Texas Longhorn football. Yes. But certainly a busy time around the 40 acres with football, basketball, and baseball.
Yeah, because we're an everything school. So there's that. So having said that, okay, as you're covering Texas now, how is it different as before, like when you were covering Texas, like when you started? I'm sure you've seen obviously an uptick in like interest and people that are very curious about what's going on and what you have to say. Was it always like that? Or have you actually seen this gradual uptick in people being very interested in the things that you have to say?
Harge likes to joke around, and a couple other people like to joke around that when I got on the beat is when Texas football really started to become back, right?
Okay.
Of course, Texas football, we're going through their periods where they're trying to find themselves outside of the 10-win year. I believe that was 2018, if memory serves me correct, under Tom Herman, either 18 or 9. No, 2019, I think was the 10-win year. They beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Outside of that, it's been an ebb and flow, right? Yep. So I'm only saying that is to answer your question that interest has been there with Texas since I've covered the team because the team has been good. Now, this year, interest is through the roof, and there's two words for that. 2 words, one name, Arch Manning, okay? Yeah. If you've been around Texas football, I mean, listen, there was absolute a ton of interest with Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers and some of the great players, Anthony Hill, the list goes on. Xavier Worthy, the team, making the college football playoff. However, I've almost been bracing myself. And we got a little bit of a taste of it last year when Quinn Ewers went down and Arch Manning took over as the starter. Yep. And you just knew when Quinn left, when Arch was fully entrenched as the starter, it was going to be mayhem. There's no other way to put it. And just coming off of SEC Media Days in Atlanta, and we got a little taste of it, and it feels like it's going to be that way. As long as Arch Manning's under center, Texas football is going to be the number one spotlight team in America.
Yeah. I think I've seen people say Arch Mania. I think that's fine for now. Whatever it takes a hold of. I will be honest and say I, as a fan that gets to just sit back and enjoy this, I am excited just to enjoy it because I think so many times as fans, we forget when we weren't very good. And so like we're not there. And so I'm just excited. Like everyone's like, how do you feel? What do you think? And I'm like, I'm excited. I'm just excited. And I want to win every single game, but honestly, I'm also excited for the ride because I felt like I struggled long enough. I'm excited for this. So knowing what you know about Texas, what do you think success is going to look like? Like, what do you honestly think success would look like this year for this team? If you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to check and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. And don't forget to turn on those notification bells. Also, if you're feeling generous, leave me a comment in the comment section below.
I'm going to try to answer that succinctly. I'll give you my ceiling for Texas is winning a national title. And I do expect, I'll just come right out and say it, I do expect Texas to be in the national title game this year. Who they will play against, I'm not quite there yet. But I do believe they will be in the national title game. Now, the floor in my mind for Texas is 9 wins, right? So to your question, what does success look like? I think you have to answer that through the prism of what Texas did the last 2 years, coming not just one game away from playing for a national title, in all honesty, really 1 or 2 plays away. We all know what happened against the Sugar Bowl, one final throw to the end zone, incomplete.
Yep.
You know what happened against Ohio State, right? The goal line failure there with Contravion Wisner, that play getting blown up by Jack Sawyer and Caleb Downs. So I think if you view it through that prism, along with the prism of Arch Manning being a first-time, full-time starting quarterback, to me, success is you have to at least make it back to where you were last year. I think there are enough pieces on this team, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, players on offense, Contravion Wisner, return to CJ Baxter, others, to where you should feel, and to be quite honest, the way the schedule sets up, that Texas should at least reach where they were last year, provided Arch Manning is who we believe he's going to be.
Correct. Are you one of those people that feels like Arch Manning is like the second coming of Jesus in college football? Or are you one of those? So lately, people have been asking me, like, what do you think? I don't think anybody's asked me on this series yet, but I think Arch Manning, like, because I'm like, I don't think he's Peyton Manning. I don't think he's Eli. I think he's just kind of Arch, and I think he's going to take a little bit from everybody and everything and be his own concoction of whatever that is. How do you feel about it? Are you kind of looking at this the same way? Or are you like, no, he's 100% going to be Peyton Manning. He's going to be calling offenses week 7.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. I don't think anyone's going to be calling Steve Sarkisian's offense outside of Steve Sarkisian. Because if you ever heard him talk about it, he even talked about, listen, I'm not looking to give up the play calling duties. I can quote Steve verbatim. As long as I'm good at it, I'm not hurting the team, I'm going to call the plays. So
right, exactly.
Steve will be calling the plays. But no, to answer your question, 2 things can be true. Arch's talent is real. It always bothers me when I see people say, well, if he wasn't a Manning, he wouldn't be getting this hype. Sure, maybe the hype wouldn't be there because you don't have the family lineage, but right. His talent is real. Like, that is undisputable. And now, I do like to always say, and I said it with you in the previous answer, first time, full-time starting quarterback, okay? Yeah. You can go through, college football history. Let's use Cam Newton. Cam Newton played 1 year at Auburn. Johnny Manziel redshirted at A&M, then came in, lit the world on fire. I'm not saying that you need to have experience in order to come in and light the world on fire. But let's also temper our expectations and understand that if he doesn't light the world on fire, there may be things that he's facing for the first time. Right. Going to Ohio State, going to Florida, going to Georgia. We saw, quite frankly, both Texas quarterbacks, Arch and Quinn Ewers, look like they had no answers, right? Let's go straight to spade. So to answer your question, I'm trying to recall what I projected. I shouldn't say predicted. It was a projection of numbers. I think I said something around 3,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, which, you being a fan, Tanisha, if you give Arch Manning 3,500 passing yards and 30 touchdowns, that's like top two
we'll take it.
3 seasons by a quarterback in Texas history, yep. Right? Mm-hmm. So yep. There's room for him to be great, but I just want to say to fans, if he doesn't come out and win the Heisman year 1, that doesn't mean it was a disappointment either.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm on he needs to prove it to me. And until he proves it to me, he will be Arch Manning, the starting quarterback at the University of Texas, and he's going to get better. And that's my thing. And I always say that, and I've said on several occasions, the defense is, in my opinion, is what's going to have to step up and carry him until he's ready to really step up and do his thing. That's how I'm seeing it as a fan. I am also very realistic when it comes to things. And so for me, I'm like, listen, if he goes out there and proves me wrong, great. But if he goes out there and he's a little bit better than average first few weeks, I'm not shocked. I mean, it's hard. So, I mean, anyway, so that's my fan perspective. So it's nice to hear your perspective, really looking at this from like a different lens of like, I'm covering this team. I've been watching this kid. He's not a kid, but you know what I mean? Like I've been watching him. So I appreciate that. What do you think the strength is of this Texas team?
Defense. I think right now, it's funny you said that you expect defense to kind of carry, whether it's Arch or the team. That's the way I'm looking at it, right? Yeah. Everyone wants to talk about Arch. And when I do podcasts or radio hits or whatever, everyone wants to talk about Arch. And I'm saying, listen, I'm waiting till fall camp so I can actually see how this offense is coming together. Not just Arch. You're replacing 4 offensive linemen, right? You got to see how the things up front look. This defense, Colin Simmons is legit. He's proven. That's Colin Simmons in my mind. Terrell Suggs, Julius Peppers, Jadeveon Clowney type of college year this year as a sophomore. Okay. Like he impressed me that much. Anthony Hill Jr. may be the best defensive player in all of college football, right? So now on the first level, we got a potential all-SEC, potential All-American. Yeah. Second level, we have an All-American. Michael Taft, I think, is really going to have to carry this unit. I shouldn't say carry. I think he's going to be the leader in the second. I shouldn't say carry.
Keep them all together. Keep them together. Keep them together.
Veteran who communicates, keeps everyone together in the secondary. But I expect this defense, in my mind, to really come out and
me too.
Listen, it doesn't matter if you're a Texas fan, a player, supporter. It doesn't matter how Arch looks against Ohio State, as long as Texas leaves the horseshoe with the win. If they do that, they've already gotten one of the potential losses I had on the schedule. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, this defense is playing lights out, just like they did last year, right, when the offense was coming together, to me, that can only benefit Texas. If the offense comes out and they're firing off all cylinders, great. Then we'll have this conversation and Texas win a national championship. But it's my expectation that this defense will come out and really set the tone.
Can I ask you just because one of my shticks is I don't watch film. I just don't, because I know what happened in the game. I don't want to go back. I don't want to critique it. I don't want to analyze it. I'm good. Like, I'll leave it. What are your thoughts on Malik Muhammad?
My thoughts on Manny, okay. That's a really interesting question. So Manny has all of the talent to be the lockdown standout corner.
Okay.
And I think obviously year one, he was part of a larger group, Terrence Brooks, others, right? His true freshman year. Last year, Jahdae Barron gets moved outside the corner. He gets targeted a ton because no one wants to throw at Jahdae, right? This year, I feel like is almost his year, not to be Jahdae Barron, because that's too much to put on him at this point, in my opinion. But I am expecting that significant jump. I think year three needs to be the year where we're talking about him as all conference, Manny Muhammad. Lockdown corner, Manny Muhammad. Because the reason why that's key in my mind is if he can lock down one side of the field, then, teams are going to have to go the other direction, whether that's Jalen Gilbo or Kobe Black or whoever. So when you ask about him, I'm not saying he needs to be Jahdae Barron, but he needs to take that next step and be that lockdown all-conference guy.
Okay. I love that. I respect it. What do you think our biggest weakness is?
So I did a position, I called it position confidence series.
I saw that and I specifically didn't watch it because I didn't want to know your answer.
So what that was, I just rated, for those who haven't read it, go check it out on the website. I just rated each position group from most confident to least confident. Okay. And it doesn't mean least confident as in I think they're going to be bad. It just means right now, juxtaposed to the rest of the team, this is where I have it. Offensive line. The reason for that is, again, you're replacing 4 starters, right?
Right.
Cole Hudson started in 2022, so he's not a first-time starter. You have DJ Campbell coming back. In my mind, those are your vets. Those are the guys who, if anything's going wrong in a game, Trevor Gooseby, Brandon Baker, Nato Umazulu, they need to turn to those guys and be like, all right, settle us down.
Right.
But I need to understand and see how the cohesion is going to come together, right?
Okay.
Offensive line more than anything else. In my opinion, listen, I didn't play offensive line, but just from the offensive lineman I've spoken to, it is just as much an ability position as it is cohesion and communication. When we saw it last year, right? When Georgia came into Texas and came to Austin and blew up the game plan, like you got to have answers. Remember, you have to go to Georgia this year, to Ohio State, to Florida. When you got 100,000 people and it's loud and you got to communicate, like, how are they going to handle those things? So to answer your question, if I say biggest weakness, and it's not even a weakness as much as it is. I just need to see more.
Something you're thinking, something that you're just wondering about. You're not sure. You're just wondering, maybe.
Maybe. The talent is there. The talent is there. I just need to see how it comes together.
Yeah, you know what's funny? As soon as the season ended last year, I went ahead and like made my video for like the things that I was thinking about as we head into the offseason. This is before I knew the spring game was going to be canceled. And I was thinking about some things I wanted to see in the spring game. And one of the things I said was offensive line. But the thing was I was like, I want to see, I remember very specifically saying like, I want to see what Brandon Baker looks like. I want to see what Trevor Gooseby looks like. And I thought the fact that I know their names makes me feel good because usually you don't know, right? Like, you know, your guys and then your guys leave and you're like, oh crap. Okay. What are our new guys' names? Like, what are they doing? And so that was one thing I thought too. So all summer I've been wondering, like, obviously the spring game's not going to show me everything, but it's going to at least make me feel a way. And I didn't have that experience. So I don't know what I think about those guys right now. So I love that. Okay. And the other thing is too, was it Sark who said, no, I don't know. It wasn't Sark. I think that was another team. I've watched so much football stuff. Everything's going together. So when you look at the schedule, what on the schedule are you looking forward to covering from your position? Whether it's you're looking forward to a game because you think it's going to be cool, or are you looking back and going, okay, Texas is really going to get tested here. I want to see how they perform in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hit on both of those. So, of course, Ohio State. I want to go to Georgia. I'm a native Floridian, so I want to go to the Swamp. Like, those will be interesting tests. But there's a stretch on Texas's schedule that people don't realize. After they finish, go ahead.
Don't even finish it. Hold on. Let me like pull it up for you because I literally just took a screenshot this morning, and I think you're about to say it, but it's like, hold on. It's like the Florida. That's so crazy. So I have it here. Is it this one?
It looks yes. So basically,
it's like Florida. It's Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt.
It's those 5 games, but specifically the 4. You're not gonna be in Austin for a month, right? You're not gonna be now. Granted, of course, Red River Shootout, you'll be in Dallas, but outside of that, you're gonna be away from home. Whoa, okay. A bird and it's funny, we were talking about things that happen during recording, and I usually don't have anything that happens during recording. A bird just flew into my window, and that scared the crap out of me for a second.
We literally, before we hit record, we were like, if something crazy happens, it's just gonna happen.
Just leave it in there. I was like, is that a human being? No, I was a bird. I guess got a little thrown off.
The good news is your windows are probably very clean. So
to finish up that answer, where I'm rudely interrupted by any more, animals outside. Struggle of living out here in Lago Vista, the stuff just be all over the place. But nevertheless, okay, to finish an answer, they're a month away from Austin, right?
Right.
Granted, you're not Oklahoma. We'll see what happens. Some people are higher on Oklahoma than I am. I think it's an uphill struggle, an uphill climb, quite frankly.
For
Mississippi State, for them. Mississippi State, not necessarily the toughest team, but still you got to go to Starkville.
Is that the Cowbells?
The Cowbells, a place where people are going to be, quite frankly, liquored up.
They hate us.
They hate us. Up and ready for Texas to come in, right?
Yeah.
You got to go to Florida. That's going to be tough, right? So you have those, and you have going to Kentucky as well, another atmosphere that they haven't had Texas come to Lexington since like the 1920s, right?
Wow.
So
okay.
They're going to be fired up. Those are going to be tests. Texas should win all 4 of those games if they're going to be tests.
Right. I love that. And I think I'm on record as saying, like, I love the schedule for that reason, because I'm one of those fans. I want my guys to be tested. I want them to go to battle. I want them to do all the things so that as the season starts to wind down, I know what kind of team I have. That's what I want to know, that my guys will go in there and fight and pull it out in the last second field goal, because God help us if our field goal kicker can't kick this year. But anyways, so that is something that I have been looking at too. So having said that, what would you think a trap game would be then? Do you think that whole sequence is a trap game, or is there something more specific that you're looking for when you're thinking of trap games for this team?
I will give it to Vandy. Diego Pavia, for whatever you think of him as a quarterback, and I covered him a little bit when he was at New Mexico State. I mean, he is not going to wow you with arm talent and everything else, but he's just going to share want to win, as we saw last year when Vandy stayed in that game, quite frankly, later than they should have been, right?
Yeah.
The reason I point that as a trap game is, memory serves me correct, the last 3 games on the schedule are, I know it's A&M, Arkansas, and whom I'm missing is the third. A&M.
It's Georgia. It's
yeah.
Georgia. Yeah, it's after
yeah.
Vandy, it's the bye week, and then it's Georgia, Arkansas, A&M.
Right. So at least the good thing for Texas is the bye week is in between going to Georgia. So it's not like you have to go the next week. But once you finish that, 4 games away from Austin, then Vandy at home. Yeah. You got a gauntlet.
Right. I was hoping they would give Texas a night game, that Vandy game, but now I'm kind of glad they're not.
That game is what? Is that an A? That's 11 a.m.
It's 11 a.m. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Texas has any night game. Or did they give it? I don't. Oh, probably the A&M. They're probably going to.
A&M game, I believe, is 6:30.
Okay.
But yeah.
And the Georgia game, they're probably going to give Georgia that one.
Georgia's probably going to be that game. And listen, if you're in my position, you want all the 11 a.m. kickoffs because that means I'm not at work till 3 a.m. I'm not leaving DKR at 2 a.m. But of course, for fans, the last thing you want to do is win that Texas Heat. So
as a fan sitting at home, I like the 2:30s. 2:30 allows me to get up, get comfortable, do what I need to do, run errands if I need to, but then I'm still back. But then after the game, depending on what happens in the game, I get to decide how my mood's going to be for the rest of the night. So I love that. Is there any game that you like, if things kind of don't go right for Texas this year, is there a team or a game where you're like, they have to at least beat these guys? Like, this is the game that they have to win because we just have to win that one. That's just it. Like, that's the game.
Yeah, I'd say A&M. I mean, the thing that's been fascinating to learn in my 3 years on the beat is, again, A&M just came back on the schedule last year, but seeing Texas's fans' feelings towards A&M as opposed to OU. You can correct me as a fan, but the feeling I've gotten from OU, from Oklahoma, is we don't like them, but we respect them because they have been good in the past. And quite frankly, we're good from the 2000s, basically all of Bob Stoops' tenure, 2000s all the way through, right?
Right.
We don't like them, but we respect them. With A&M, at least last year, it felt more like we don't like them. And quite frankly, we don't respect them because y'all have never really achieved the heights that Texas has.
Right.
So that is the one to me that I believe Texas has to win.
I think that's a good answer. I will be honest with you. I am one of those, I'm a weird fan in the sense of I don't even care about our rivals. I just don't, because I think if they're good, it makes us better when we beat them. But I'm a type of fan that cheers for my team. I don't necessarily cheer against I don't care. I'm like, I need Texas to win. I don't care about, so I don't negatively cheer, if that makes sense. I'm always pro Texas as opposed to being anti Texas A&M or anti A&M. So I don't know if that makes me like a weird fan, but I just don't care about them that much. I'm like, I want my team to be good and I need your team to be good. So when we beat you, it looks better.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel. So even because I remember last year when we beat Oklahoma, it was a really big deal, right? Because everybody thought Oklahoma was going to be something. And then obviously they ended up not being anything. And there's that. But I think sometimes when you can beat your rival and they're good, it just makes you look better. So,
and really quick, I tend to agree with you, like even as covering sports and covering college football and covering, I guess college sports in general, I've always felt like I wouldn't want my rival to be bad because then it's like I'm just beating up on a bad team, right?
Correct.
Whereas I would assume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the 2023, my years are running together here. Sorry, 2023 was the loss to OU.
The loss.
All right. But my assumption would be that a win over a really good, like if you'd won the 2023 game when they were in the top 10 ranked team, that'd be more satisfying than beating up on the OU team that came and started Michael Hawkins, a third string quarterback.
100%.
Right.
100%. That's what I always say. And so, I mean, and I get it, but I get that sometimes fandom is not level-headed. I always say sometimes I'm too practical and level-headed to be a fan because I don't go crazy either way. Even when we lose, I'm not like, I'm cool. Do I hate it? Absolutely. But do I go, oh my God, we suck? No, I'm just like, that was terrible. I hated that. And I'm like that we win. I'm like, we won, but God, did you see the way we played?
Right.
So I was like that last year with Mississippi State. Like I made a video and people were like, you guys won. And I was like, yeah, but we looked terrible. Like fumbles and false starts and all that.
That was a sloppy game, most definitely.
Yeah, it was bad. So anyways, that's just how I am as a fan. And most people are just like, you need to stop being level-headed. And I'm like, no, I think I'll stay level-headed because you guys are crazy. So if Texas could get one player in college football, any team, any position, who do you think would enhance and make this Texas football team better? Who would you pick?
I saw that question came through and it was really interesting because you take a look, right? Texas is recruited really well across the board.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to choose one player, I'm still like, it feels to me, if you could put another really good edge rusher, I'd say a TJ Parker from Clemson, for example,
Okay.
across Colin Simmons, that to me feels like you have a defense that'd be completely unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
I was torn because I thought about, who are the best running backs right now and which one
That's
would
what
I
I was
take?
thinking
But
too. Yeah.
I like Quintravion Weisner. Every time I was toying around with running back, sure, I could say a Jeremiah Smith, right? An easy answer would be Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. You get a bona fide superstar receiver, boom, great. Like, of course. But I like the talent that Texas has at running back, at receiver, guys will grow. To me, to kind of do a little curveball, if I could bolster that defense even more so that they're just so stifling that, not to say it doesn't matter what you do on offense, but you just know, put up 17 points, we got the rest. That to me would be an incredible mix. So I'm going to go with like an edge rusher like a TJ Parker.
I love that. That's a really good answer. Okay. I was thinking running back for sure. And then the more I think about it, I'm always like, who is a stud offensive lineman or who's a stud at center? Like, who is the most solid, consistent center? I think he plays at Florida. Like, give me that guy.
Jake Slaughter.
Yeah, like, let's stabilize this offensive line so that I know Arch Manning is good. Like, let's just make him feel good. So anyways, I put that question in because I didn't know the answer. Most people will find usually the questions that I add that are like that are kind of wonky, or the answers that I'm like, are the questions that I'm like, I don't know what I would put. So I'm just interested to see what other people say about their teams. Well, that's awesome. So this is the point where I ask my guest, if you have any questions for me or anything that you're thinking about or that you want me to answer, this is your opportunity to ask me any question that you want. It's obviously different because you cover Texas, so you know Texas, and I'm the fan. So maybe like our perspectives will be different, but still, it's like the same team. We kind of know the ins and outs, but who knows? You might want to know like a fan perspective question.
Well, so, I have two.
Okay.
One, you asked me this question, and I'm curious from a fan's perspective. What would success be for you, given the fact that Texas has made the semifinal the last 2 years?
Yeah.
What would a successful season be like this year for you?
I think I would feel good if we make it to the playoffs and we knock off Georgia at home. Like that would be fantastic. Like I would be like playoffs, and because my thing is I don't know what Arch is going to do. And do I want to go like Arch is going to go in there and win the Natty? Absolutely. But if we just make it to the playoffs and we, lose because we just aren't ready or we don't play well, because there's a lot of parts of this team that I feel like are pretty young. And so they're not young to the program. They're really young based on playing experience. Right. And I just don't know what we're going to get. And so that's what I'm thinking. Now, we come up against Ohio State and I see some things I didn't think I was going to see. My expectations will change. But as of today, I'm thinking playoffs, beat Georgia at home. Because something about that beating Georgia at home is almost like we made it. Like not only did we make it, like we beat you at home. Shut up. Right. Be quiet. And that's how I am as a fan. Like I want you to be quiet. So that would be success. No, obviously Natty, right? That's the obvious answer. But I don't know yet. I don't know about this offensive line and I don't know about this running back situation. And I'm going to say it out loud. Steve Sarkisian makes me nervous sometimes. Okay. Other than that, I feel great. Other than that, I feel great.
So here is, forgive me for going into journalist mode here, but here is the final question I'll ask.
Okay.
If there's one Longhorn athlete, so I'm going to assume that you've been a Texas fan through and through.
Way too long.
One Longhorn athlete, doesn't have to be football.
Okay.
Just historical, that you'd either pay money to again see as a Longhorn or have on the show. Who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. So that's an interesting question. So Casey Hampton, okay. I credit Casey Hampton for being the reason why I'm a Texas fan still and why I invested so much time into learning the NFL. Because he was the first guy I got to watch play college on a team I liked, and then he went to my NFL team. So Casey Hampton will always be that person for me. Always, always, always. If I can't go back that far, because a lot of people will be like, who is Casey Hampton? Like, who is that? So So if I can't go back that far, I would probably say like Derek Johnson would be fun. Derek Johnson would be super fun. Bijan, I think, would be super fun. But those are the guys that really stick out to me.
Interesting. Okay. The one that, even though, again, not being a fan, but if speaking from a reporter sense, I guess there's two people. One, and neither of them are football. Not because I've gotten a chance to, in some form or another, kind of, interview most of the football people. One be Kevin Durant, because KD, even though he was only there for 1 year, he truly reps Texas through and through, comes back to the university all the time. Like that to me, especially not even being a Texan, he's from DC, right?
Yeah. So he loves it.
That to me is super interesting.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm going to go completely left field. It's going to be softball. Kat Osterman.
Ooh, okay. Kat's a good one.
I feel like, her being one of the greatest softball players of all time and still being local and supporting the team and so on and so forth. Like that'd be, and of course, softball just winning a national championship.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be super interesting to get her thoughts as someone who people forget Texas softball, they've only been around roughly 30 years, right? It's not like they've been playing softball since the 80s, right?
And I credit Kat for that. Like she's the one that put us on the map. Yeah, right. That's true.
Kat being one of the pioneers, I'd be interested to see how she feels about, the current state of affairs with Texas softball.
Yeah, those would be interesting. I always too, it's so funny. It's just funny how college sports works, but yeah, great ones. I mean, listen, I would talk to any Texas athlete just to be like, what is it actually like when people hate you? What's it actually like? But yeah, I always say there's certain people and players that made me remain fans, even when I didn't want to be a fan because it was rough. And it usually goes to the football guys because they start first. And I feel like they kind of start me into the year and I'm like, all right, I'm back. It's like, I'll watch them. So there's that. I did play volleyball growing up, but the volleyball girls, I feel like, no disrespect to volleyball girls, but there's only 6 of them that play. So it's like, it's a different type of vibe than it is like, I'm just fascinated by football. How does 11 guys on a team make something work?
Sure.
How does that even work? So anyway, so I appreciate those questions. Is there anything else we should know about these 2025 Longhorns? Because they are going to be ranked first. Everyone's going to be extremely annoyed with me that they're first. But by the way that I did this, I just looked at all the statistics and took the average. And honestly, I don't trust any of these other teams more than I trust my team. So Penn State has things, Notre Dame has things, Ohio State has things, like everybody has, Clemson has things. I trust Texas more than I trust these other teams. So I put them first.
Yeah, I'll run through 3 quick things. One, keep an eye on backup quarterback since Steve Sarkisian has been in Austin. He has not had one quarterback play the entire season. Of course, injury with Quinn Ewers. And
15
injury,
years, by the way. It's been 15 years.
There you go. So keep an eye on backup quarterback competition. Yeah. 2, tight end Jack Endries, transfer from Cal. I believe he's going to be a all-conference player. And the third thing, linebacker Leunga Lafau, the guy who plays next to Anthony Hill, he's due for a breakout year as well.
Okay. Can I bother you for one more thing? What do you think about the 4 defensive tackles that we got out of the transfer portal?
The big thing I'm keeping my eye on there is I think they all are very talented. Murad Watson, of course, freshman All-American. Is it 4 or 5? Let's run through the list here. Off the top of my head. Murad Watson, Levon Johnson, Cole Brevard, Travis Shaw, and Hero Canu. So 5 defensive tackles.
About Hero Canu. I forgot about Hero. Okay.
But the big thing is neither of them have played. Brevard and Watson started, and Travis Shaw started at their previous schools, but none of them have played starter level snaps by Texas standards. What I mean by that is the last 2 years, Texas has played 15 and 16 games, right?
Right.
Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, Tavondre Sweat, Byron Murphy all played over 450 snaps. None of these guys have done that for their career. So is this going to be a situation where it's, hey, we need all 5 guys and Alex January, a 6 on deck? Or do 1 or 2 of these guys break out of the pack and they can play 450, 475, 500 snaps in the season?
Okay, cool. I love that. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for agreeing to do this. Thank you for letting me be a fan. It's so nice whenever I get to step back and be like, this is what I think. So thank you for that. And then the other thing is all of your information will be in the description box below. So everybody can find you pretty easy. And then when your video is going to release. So that is that. I'll obviously just let you know before it goes live. But I just wanted to thank you because I say this often, but I don't think we as humans have enough conversations with people that have our same interests and that we can just talk to and have conversations with and do these type of things. So it's an honor for me to put together this series, but it's also an honor when people want to come and talk to me about their respective team that they cover. Whether you're a fan, you cover them, you make TikTok videos about them. I don't care what you do. I just appreciate the passion for the same thing, and how we cover it and go about it are all the different things. So there's that. Anyways, anything you want to say? I will end on you. I'll hit the end button whenever you're done.
Sure. Again, thank you for having me on. You can find me on Twitter, or I guess X, at the link that you're not the link, but the handle that you see below my chin at Eric C. Henry _. Find all of my Texas football, basketball, baseball, sometimes softball, depending on what the need is, at 24/7 Sports and at horns247.com.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Oh, I need to say hook 'em. I'm a fan. I'm saying hook 'em. Bye.